The Whitney Reynolds Show is supported by Sal's Deli.
Hi, I'm Whitney Reynolds, and have you ever thought to yourself, oh, if I could just do that over? Well, we're calling that a second chance, and that's today's topic. We're talking about second chances when it comes to health, business, and court convictions.
I thought all hope was gone for me. I had been overweight my entire life.
He was behind bars for 25 years. He was wrongfully convicted of murder.
You're watching The Whitney Reynolds Show. Danny Allen got a second chance when it comes to health and wellness. After losing 121 pounds, she claimed the title of the biggest loser for season 14.
You need to have lost more than 120 pounds.
Let's welcome out Mundelein native Danny Allen. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Well, this is quite the second chance. Tell us about your journey.
Oh man, I don't even know where to begin. It started up just like a year ago, going through audition process, going back and forth from LA, getting the call that said, you're coming to LA and either going straight home or going straight to the ranch. So I loved going into my boss's office and saying, I'm gonna be gone anywhere between the next 2 weeks and 6 months. Is that okay?
What made you want to do this?
You know, back in February of 2012, my dad was actually put into the hospital and he was in the ICU, and we actually got that phone call that said bring the whole family in. And he had a lot of trouble with his weight and his heart, and due to poor health growing up in general is what put him in the hospital. And I was apple tree, me and my father, and I saw myself, he turned 50 in the ICU. That would be me in just 25 years if I didn't change my life. And Biggest Loser auditions was just a few weeks around the corner, and I went last minute the day before just to be like, this is my jump start. I'm just gonna go meet some people that are like me. No intentions of actually making the show.
Well, not just making it, but you are the Biggest Loser, season 14.
I am, and I've never been more excited to be called a loser, so I love it.
It is weird saying you're a Biggest Loser, but that is a second chance. Tell us about how your health feels right now. Like, you feel healthy? You look great.
You know, you see on paper what healthy means. You know, it's like the numbers and your age and what you look like, but I never really understood what healthy meant. To me, it means getting excited to get up in the morning, killing it in a spin class like I did this morning, and beating all the boys. Like, it was just, there's a whole new meaning to health for me, and it is a wellness and a lifestyle change that I've fully embraced and really hope to pass forward.
Do you feel like a new person?
Oh, I do feel like a new person, but at the same time, I actually feel like the person that was inside can actually come out now. Like, I don't think my core values or any of that has changed. I'm still, the girl from Mundelein, but I just, I feel like she can shine. I was hidden by the weight before, so.
What would you say for people that are maybe at home relating to your story, wanting to have a second chance or a do-over or make a change? What would you say to them?
First of all, the biggest thing I've said is if I can do it, you certainly can do it. I thought all hope was gone for me. I had been overweight my entire life. Chubby kid. I was big, and I weighed over 200 pounds in high school, even being a varsity athlete. So it just felt like it wasn't in the cards for me. Everyone has that second chance. Everyone can try for it and reach for it. And like I said, if I can do it, you can too.
Do you have a new mindset when it comes to food?
I do believe nutrition is the biggest aspect of being healthy. I've been telling everyone 80% of this whole process is nutrition. What you're putting in your body for fuel versus filling is a different story. And with nutrition, it's all about trying new things, but also being exposed to what are healthier options, figuring out what's good for your body, because everyone's body is different. Whether you choose gluten-free, paleo, that's all your decision. I'm not going to ever judge anyone for that. But as long as you know what works for you and is fueling your body, it's a great way to start.
I would love to go back to what you said a minute ago about, you've always been the same person, but you never really got to fully come out of your shell because were you just scared to? Were you afraid to be outgoing? Like, what was that?
Well, funny enough, I actually was very outgoing, especially in high school. Like I said, I was on 2 varsity sports. I was president of art club. I did everything because I felt like if I was good at everything, you can't judge me for my weight. So my weight was that I still was, the really I think, exciting person and fun, but I never realized, like, I didn't feel it. You know, I showed it to other people to try and convince them that I was a good person. Why didn't I just focus and convince myself that I was a good enough person? I didn't have to put myself on this pedestal. And now I'm just like, you know what, here it is, black and white. You like me or you don't, and I'm just gonna keep moving forward and making sure that I'm, you know, going through the process that I've learned.
Now that the weight's gone, tell us about the new Danny.
Well, first of all, I'm really excited to go to like H&M and buy this dress off the clearance rack. And second of all, it's just
And you say that because sometimes these different stores, they make them really small.
Oh, yeah.
Or you couldn't wear them before?
Yeah, stores like H&M and that sort of thing, I never could fit into. I always had to go to the bigger girl stores or the bigger section, and it just wasn't exciting to go shopping. It was like, okay, this fits. You know, I was making clothes fit me versus now I'm like wearing the clothes. And I love it that I could just find a $10 dress and hopefully rock it. And I think it's more than the clothes, though. It's like how you feel and how you present yourself with the clothes. And then just getting up in the morning, like I did my 6 a.m. spin class every morning, and it's just, it feels good to get up and do that. Before, I would just like dread it and go back to sleep. You know, now I'm just like, all right, what's the next day coming?
Well, part of a second chance is the mindset, and you've been talking about that. With the new mindset, is there the fear of falling back in?
You know, I think there's always going to be the fear of falling back, and I actually do sometimes have those nightmares or dreams that I woke up and I just gained all the weight back. But I just have to remind myself that I'm doing the steps that I've put forward. I write everything down too, so that way it's like black and white. You did it or you didn't today, you know? There's no more tricking myself. And then at the same time, I've given myself the tools to overcome that, whether it's like I said, writing things down or being surrounded by people that really just embrace the lifestyle that I put together. My mom is just kicking butt. She's turning 50 this year, and she's taking boxing and boot camp, and she's doing all these personal training sessions. She's like, I'm gonna look better at 50 than I did at 25.
So you're really making second chances happen for other people too. They're seeing that you did it, so now they can do it too.
Exactly. My whole family's put it together. I have my community, they put on a run for me last week, and it was just such a great experience to feel like everyone's kind of pulling together, and it's not just me, it's reaching out.
Well, thank you, Danny, for coming on and sharing your story.
Thanks for having me.
After being absent for 25 years, one of Chicago's all-time great desserts has made a return. The successful return has been engineered by Peter Fasciano, son of legendary Joe Pies Fasciano, and grandson of the company founder. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you.
Yeah, so tell us about Fasciano Pies. What's a little bit of the history? Your grandfather started it?
Yeah, my grandfather started as a pie man in 1927 and worked his way up to the president of a company. And then in 1946, he bought a bakery. And then in 1950, a pie production facility came up for sale, and he bought it and turned it into Fasciano Pie Company.
Fasciano Pie Company, so it's been a staple around here.
It has, yes.
But then there was a 25-year absence.
Correct.
So your dad, did he take over from your grandfather?
Yes, he did.
Okay, so tell us about why Fasciano did not produce pies for a little bit.
From 82 to 86, there was hard economic times, and my father was forced to close the plant. You know, there used to be police directing traffic out in front of the store, and it's a Chicago institution. From day one, I've tried to be a good father and instill in my children hard work, you know, have fun, but be respectful to people, and shake their hands and look them in the eye, and you know, be a hard worker.
What made you not fear it closing again? Because that would be, most people don't want to get it back up on the saddle if they feel like it could happen again. They have that fear.
I don't necessarily have fear for many things in life, but if you don't try things, you're not gonna be able to do them, and that goes for anything, whether it's business or school or whatever, sports.
Would you call this a second chance?
I would, yes, especially for me and my children. If this is a success, you know, I could bring them up in the business if they choose to. They may not choose to, but yeah, I'm. Also, my 86-year-old father is still alive, and you know, I talk to him like 20 times a day on the phone because you know, he's arguably the #1 pie salesman ever in the country. Yeah, he sold hundreds of millions of pies. So.
Do you feel like you're competing with him for that title?
No, I'm not. Not yet. I'd have to sell a lot of pies, but you know, that would be the end route. You know, I love being in all the mom and pop stores and small restaurants and everything, but I am shooting for the big box stores as well.
You know, today's show has been all about this, where we've seen different second chance scenarios come back and come full circle, and everyone's just beaming. But I think this is just such the legacy that you're leaving for your kids as well.
I do too, yeah. And, you know, my family members are happy. My dad's ecstatic. My mom's very happy. Everybody just seems to be, you know, on board with it, and there's been no negativity. And the bottom line is I'm serving people a quality product, and they come back for more, and they're always happy when they come and see me, so.
What advice would you give for other business owners out there that have maybe had their business shut down and want to retry it?
My personal advice, you know, this isn't in a textbook or anything, but you have to be willing to lose it all and more to get what you want.
Great advice. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Well, guys, coming up on our social sizzle, we have a familiar face to Chicago. Former Bulls player John Sallies joins us now. Let's take a look. And now it's time for your social sizzle. I am joined by John Sally, who a lot of people would say is a basketball legend, especially to our Bulls.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And today we're talking about second chances.
Yeah.
And one thing that we threw out to Facebook and Twitter, since this is the social sizzle, we wanted to hear some lessons learned. So we asked you to hashtag lessons learned to us and tell us some of your stories. And the stories really are incredible. And you, John, have learned a lot of lessons over your time.
Well, a lot. Let me tell you, I learned, I'll give you one recent. I was doing a show on ESPN last year, and one of the craziest things happened. They said, well, the greatest player of all time, and I kind of disagree. I said, Michael Jordan's not the greatest player of all time. And they were like, what? Now, I've been around Michael since I was 19 years old. I've played against Michael. I played with Michael. I hung out with Michael. So I don't see him the same way everybody else sees him. Or the way the media has portrayed it. I see him as a great player, the greatest player in the 90s. But I remember, you know, talking smack to him and hanging out with him. He was on my first late night show for my pilot. I mean, this is my friend. So I realized that sometimes you cannot step on people's dreams, don't get past it. They asked me that question again yesterday in Chicago. If I had my starting five, who would it be? And I said, I would start the team off with Michael Jordan as point guard. And then for my 2 guard, I would have Michael Jordan. And as my 3 guard, I would have Michael Jordan. And then as my power forward, I would play that role and have Michael Jordan play center of the universe.
That is so funny.
Better learn.
Lesson learned, which is really, lesson learned can be a second chance for people.
Right.
Because you learned the hard way, or we all have,
Right.
and we're sharing it with others.
Yeah, I learned as an athlete, sometimes you say things you shouldn't say off the top of your head in the moment of I guess, competition. And then you sit back and you think about it, you go, I didn't really feel that way. No, you felt that way, you just should have kept your mouth shut.
You just should have kept your mouth shut. I've heard that a few times.
Ah, really?
Well, speaking of mouth shut, you are not doing that these days. You're
Right.
actually motivational speaking, but in a very positive way.
Right.
You're sharing a lot of stuff that you've learned over the years and empowering other people. Tell us about that.
I empower other people by one, I became a vegan, so I started taking care of myself, started loving myself. And one of the things that the best thing in the world is self-love, but not to the point where you're narcissistic. I mean it as self-love is stop thinking that anything is wrong with you. Anything is bad with you. I don't have this. I need this to be complete. You don't. All you
Right.
need is what you have. That's the way it's blessed to. And I also say I don't speak in negativity. I used to be one of those guys who used to be negative about things and think of the negative as opposed to thinking of the positive. Now I just think positive. If you just stay in one light, that one light usually happens. They call it, sometimes when people run into becoming, they find God. But I just say I find God in all the things I do.
So you're looking for that positive energy.
Yes, if I touch you, I want positive energy.
So talking about this vegan diet, did you have some kind of stomach issue that turned you that way?
Yeah, I was, my cholesterol was too high. I was gaining weight and didn't understand why. My testosterone dropped, I wasn't feeling good. And then 1991, I started in macrobiotics, and then from there I became a vegetarian. And then at the age of 40, I decided never to lie again. And at the age of 43, I became a vegan, and now at 49, I'm almost a raw vegan.
So you are healthy, your
Right.
stomach is healed. Would you call that a second chance?
That was second chance at life because I could have taken the wrong turn. A lot of people in my family have these debilitating diseases. I could have gone down that path. And then at the age of 40, like I said, I became smart. I grew up. Right now, I'm only 9 years old.
Only 9 years old.
Only 9 years old.
So what are you up to now?
I am going around. I have a company called Virmax. It's about men's health. It's prostate maintain. We have testosterone booster, and we have a natural male enhancement product, and all of it is natural and vegan. I have a wine called the Vegan Vine, which is really good wine in the Central Coast, made without any animal products. Company, Galaxy Toys. There's a whole bunch of things.
You're doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I have to.
Do people still, whenever they see you, they're always like, they always go right back to the court days? Basketball is where it's at.
I want them to. Come right back and talk to me about basketball, and then I'm going to talk to you about what I want to talk to you about.
Well, where can people find you on social media, since this is our social sizzle?
Right, you can get me at The John Sally on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, just John Sally. You can go to johnsally.com.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
David Owens is a staff attorney for the Exoneration Project at the University of Chicago Law. The project represents individuals convicted of crimes of which they are innocent.
David, thanks for joining us. You know, the Exoneration Project is really a true second chance.
Absolutely. It's a really great opportunity, or hard work, that is, at trying to get people who've been wrongfully convicted a chance at freedom.
How hard mentally is it for your clients that are in prison knowing that they didn't do it?
Well, I think the most important thing to say is beyond what I could even comprehend. And in talking to my clients, acknowledging that I haven't experienced anything that would be that bad, especially when their sentences are long, or the possibility of life without parole, because you have no idea when it's going to end. So it's extremely hard, and I think the way we approach it is with humility about not being able to quantify that.
The Exoneration Project, your clients, were they convicted of murder, rape? Is that it, or is there more?
There have been a lot of exonerations over the past, 2 decades in particular. Most of them have been for really serious crimes, and most of our clients are there for murder or rape, or there are a couple drug cases, but for obvious reasons, those don't make up as high of a number of those who have been wrongfully convicted, and then those who were able to serve.
How did the project get started?
So the project got started 5 years ago, 6 years ago, with Tara Thompson, who is my another staff attorney at the project, and she went to the University of Chicago, and there was really a need. So there's a big organization like this at Northwestern, and there are others around, but University of Chicago didn't have a project, and the owner of our civil rights law firm that I also work at, John Lovey, saw the need and was willing to put in some resources, and then we partnered with the university to start this project.
So when you say he saw a need, he saw second chances, like he saw that some people are behind bars that shouldn't be.
Absolutely, and it's one of the worst injustices one could imagine, and there are letters coming in all of the time, and even though there are lots of other projects doing great work, there's still lots of people who are underserved, and we get letters from clients all of the time, our potential clients saying they need relief.
How do you pick up your clients? Like, how do they become a part of the project?
It's a pretty extensive vetting process. As you can imagine, lots of people write in, and we go from about like 10,000 letters a year to what we have with our 10 or 15 clients. And it's a process where we get information from them, look at them, and sort of eliminate people. And what an interesting thing about our project is the students at the University of Chicago Law School, where we teach, vote on the project. And so the clients that we want to take, and that's because we just say, the students have to all believe that our clients are innocent, and because they're the ones also working to help bring about justice in these cases.
What is one of your favorite second chances that you've seen play out for one of the clients?
I would definitely say it has to be, without a doubt, Eric Kane's case. For me, it's inspirational, how he could be positive and have such a grateful perspective on the world. And as he's, he was exonerated in 2011 and has been out for about a year and a half now. And the way in which he approaches the world and is grateful for all of the things that have gone, it inspires me to work harder, whether it be and all of these other things I'm doing, is because he's just been so inspirational for me personally.
How long was Eric behind bars?
He was behind bars for 25 years.
And he was wrongfully convicted of?
He was wrongfully convicted of murder.
Okay, and what did end up setting him free?
So it was the Exoneration Project. He was one of our clients, and we file in the legal lingo what's called a post-conviction petition that went through, and it resulted in him getting a certificate of innocence.
Was it DNA testing as well?
It wasn't DNA testing.
Okay.
So this is, a lot of the projects involve DNA testing, and that's one of the things that makes the Exoneration Project unique, is that we don't have a requirement that all of our guys have to be DNA guys. And what happened was he was wrongfully convicted with another guy, his co-defendant, who was actually on death row and was one of the people that the former governor pardoned. And then sort of a really, really terrible consequence of Eric not being on death row was that he didn't get pardoned. And so he actually sat in jail for another 10, 11 years while this whole process of getting the post-conviction petition took place. So
he's now innocent, and you've really been able to see this second chance play out. What is he up to now? Like, how has his life changed from the Exoneration Project?
Well, I mean, his life is obviously drastically changed, but it's not all good because sometimes a second chance can only be as much as time can give. And so, unfortunately, while he was in prison, both of his parents passed away, and it's been difficult. But his life is one where he's rebuilding and reacclimating to work and lives in the suburbs and just trying to really appreciate, I think, the daily freedoms and just to do good. He just wants to do good work and have a happy family.
Wow.
I think like all of us.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and giving people a real second chance. I mean, you're giving people second chances.
We're trying. We're fighting for it.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we wanted to hear from the viewers about if you got a second chance, what would it be? Let's take a look.
If I was given a second chance, I would probably live abroad for a while. I stayed close to my family for a long time, and I think now that I have kids, it's harder to leave, and it would be so nice to have done that now that I'm more grounded in where I live.
I would redo some decisions that hurt people close to me or even hurt people far from me.
What I would do is I would leave my hometown of Las Vegas a little bit earlier. I left when I was 25. I had an opportunity to leave when I was 18 to go to school. And I think if I had a chance, I might go back and redo it that way.
I'm actually really happy as I am. I've got a gorgeous little baby boy, and I think my life is pretty good.
I'm willing to have one shot at something and live with the consequences. That's how I learn.
One of the things would be to spend more time with loved ones that aren't around anymore.
Yeah, in college, I had two groups of friends, including a group of international friends. I would have taken more full advantage of that opportunity and spent a lot more time with them.
I would come again back to the States because it's a land of opportunity.
I wish I had traveled more than I have recently. And I don't know if there have been any major changes in my life. Life is good.
Pretty happy with where I am right now, so all those mistakes and good choices got me here, so I would keep things the way they are.
Well, I was originally born in Chicago, and I decided I wanted to leave Chicago, and every time I come back, I think maybe I shouldn't have left Chicago, so I'm visiting now, and I'm thinking maybe I should have stayed, although I did a lot of other interesting things, but I really miss Chicago sometimes.
I would have had kids sooner. I thought that it was amazing, and I can't wait to do it again soon.
So if I had a second chance in life, I would choose to study something else than I have studied in my bachelor and master's degree. I enjoyed it very much, but it's a little bit hard to find jobs with this, so I would go for something more practical.
So whether you call it a do-over or a second chance, today's guests are a prime example that if opportunity knocks, don't be afraid to reopen the door. For more information on today's show, go to thewhitneyreynolds.show.com. A special thanks to the Gorilla Tango Theater, K-Page Salon, STEM Chicago, STI Movers, and DJ Creative Solutions. The Whitney Reynolds Show is supported by Sal's Deli.